Oh, there goes. There goes. Right there. Pray more, worry less. Pray more, worry less, guys. So, let's do this. Got my candle. I need my candle. Woo. Also good. No, we gotta spray this. I have my stress reliever. Gotta spray that. All the negative energy. Get all the negative energy out of here. Right? Got my lipstick. Today's sponsor shout out to Kaylox Lingerie Triple X Double X Red Lipstick. Feeling Meg. I want to give y'all lots of kisses. Kisses today. Shout out to TikTok on the line. Shout out to YouTube. Let's go. I think I just sprayed some perfume in my coffee. Oh no. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What it do? Everybody recuperating from the holiday? Everybody finished all your leftover turkey? Everybody done with the leftover turkey? I got the lashes on today. I sure did. Look at my back. Oh my God, I did a horrible job. I sure did do my lashes. So that's why I'm going to have my glasses on so it doesn't look too crazy. I try to flat iron my hair. I try to look a little something, little presentable. You know me, I'm usually in here with my baseball hat, trying to keep it jiggy. Try to keep it jiggy for you guys. Did you watch? So I'm on here to talk about you guys. If you see me looking up, that's because I'm live on TikTok too. Did you guys hear watch the reckoning of Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, aka Brother Love, aka the Diddler, aka Puff Daddy, Puffy? It was done by 50 Cent. Let me see the reckoning. Let me see who did it. Give proper shout outs where they belong. Let me see. What's her name? Co-producer. Alexandria Stapleton. She's an Emmy Award winner. I wonder what other productions she did. Let's see what else she did. Alexandra Stapleton. Let's see. Produce which shows. It's Me, Chelsea, Shut Up and Dribble, and The Playbook. So she has a couple of productions on Netflix, I guess, if you want to look her up. From what I understand, Diddy has some of his own private film because I think he thought he was gonna, he always films himself or will always pay people to film him. I think he thought he was gonna beat the Rico case, which he did, and he was going to get out of jail, and I guess he was going to sell his documentary. So I guess whatever footage we hadn't seen before of him, I guess he has sold that footage already to Netflix, thinking that he was going to use it for himself. And I guess they already had the licensing or on the rights. So I guess 50 Cent did a bid, and Netflix was the highest bidder, and they used 50 cents. This was a great strategic marketing ploy, I think, on my end. Hold on one second. I hear the AC running in the background. I'm gonna cut off my AC. Hold on one second. Yes, guys, you guys are out in the snow. Meanwhile, I'm down here in Florida. It's hot. I got the AC on in my house. We have like 80 degrees. Don't hate. Okay, so listen. What I was gonna say is that this was a genius marketing play. So like Trump has like this building every, and a lot of he doesn't own any of those buildings. He just licensed his name, and I think that's what they did with this doc. They were like, okay, this doc's coming out. There's a million docs coming out. How can we get this documentary to get the numbers that what we need? Okay, call it 50 Cent. He's a troll. He'll post about it. Yada yada yada. So that I thought that was genius. I don't know how much he got paid for it or whatever he did. Was it? I heard 40 to 50 million. That's what I heard. But I wonder what the numbers, does Netflix write their numbers or what the numbers did? Because I remember when they did the Central Park Five, Ava DuVernay, when she did the Central Park Five on Netflix, that was like, psh, I mean, the whole globe, people in India, Asia, Africa, Europe. I mean, Netflix, it almost broke the internet or the service. She said the numbers were like through the roof. I think it was the number one watch show at that time. Now, this one, I don't know how the numbers came in or the ratings of the reviews. So basically, I was here to do a review on my thoughts, right? So it's 4 hours. It starts from the beginning. So in the beginning, this is not really going to be a spoiler alert. I mean, I don't know, it might be a spoiler alert. Some of you might not watch it, may watch it, or you might just here to hear what I got to say or whatever. It starts from the beginning, of course, his childhood friends. But even before that, the takeaway, this is just my opinion allegedly. This is just my takeaway allegedly. Okay. This is just from me being in my 50s, growing up in the Bronx, being in hip hop, um, being at City College, things like that, being on tour. This is my insight or my perspective that I could put into the documentary, what I took away. And I did follow the trial. I didn't go to the trial, but I watched it. I even did live. I have a whole podcast here. Just go to my playlist, put Diddy trial. You can see all the coverage that I put on it. Um, what I was going to say is, first of all, I want to say thank you everyone for watching, supporting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, Cash App, everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't my channel is like growing. It's nice. Actually, it's a cooking channel. I like to cook. Today, I'm having I made this from scratch. So you ever go to Smoothie King? I usually run out to Smoothie King. I get my vegan coffee green smoothie, but I couldn't get it today because I don't have a car. My car's in the shop, so it is what it is. I've been walking. I've been getting fit because I've been walking everywhere. So I was like, well, since I'm home, I'll make my own. So what it is it's just cocoa. I got this from Whole Foods. It's cocoa, natural cocoa, unsweetened, no sugar, a banana, my coffee, whichever coffee you like. I do put some flax seeds in it to keep everything moving. And I put dates for the sugar, natural dates. Now I'm Egyptian. Egyptians like dates. Dates are very beneficial. You can look it up. So I put some dates that's how I get my sugar in there. Okay. It's a meal replacement. This is basically the meal. Like if you're fasting or doing intermittent fasting, but you got a busy day, I don't put protein in there. I don't do any supplements. But if you want to put your collagen or some supplements or whatever, knock yourself out, or some protein. Okay. Anyway, uh, so long story short, um, okay, the documentary. So my opinion, I feel like he was born, in Harlem, and then he was lied to. So I'm a firm believer, like, don't lie to your children. Like, my mother was very direct in my growing up with things in the situation with family dynamics. She was very honest from a very young age, because when you lie to kids, it's going to catch up to you. Now with social media, a lot of things are public record. You could kind of figure things. So Diddy was he was not born into a lie, but he was lied to. He was lied. He was told, his mother told him as a child, he used to be like, where's my father? Maybe he see other kids with a dad and he didn't have his dad. And he said, where's my father? Which is naturally most kids, where's my mother? Where's my father? Who's my grandfather? Even adopted children, even studies have proven that even kids who are adopted, who are grown up with love and money and security and everything, they still, something in their DNA, they still need to know who's their biological mother and father. Why do they look a certain way? Why do they talk a certain way? Why do they walk a certain way? Because they're always looking for the truth, their DNA, the truth, right? So Diddy was lied to that his father was died in a car accident. That's what he was told. Because I guess the mother was trying to protect him from the truth. Of course, when he got older, he went in search of his father to find out, well, if my father was in car crash. It would have been in the news. So he goes to look at like age 18 or something like that, and he finds out that his father was actually a hustler or drug dealer, and he was a bad drug dealer, or a drug dealer a drug deal going bad, and he was a foreman, and then they knew he was going to snitch, and then he was executed he was 2 years old, which is horrible, right? Horrible, horrible, horrible. It's a tragedy, right? So now he becomes this big. Then you have a myth. When you don't tell your children the truth, they then make up a lie in their head. They're gonna make up their truth. They're gonna say, "Oh, well, if that not happened, this episode." Then in his mind, growing up, he makes his father as like this larger than life, maybe kingpin, gangster, to not to be feared. And he was a driver, right? From what I understand, he was like a driver for the kingpin or whatever. So Diddy allegedly formulates his own opinions of who his father could have been, should have been, how he maybe wants to live up to his father's name or image. But the mother, you got to give the mother credit. That, in my opinion, I don't know Janice Combs. I don't want to know Janice Combs, but hanging out at like Perks in Harlem, and in certain places that in Harlem where I want to say the underground club, but the after hour spots, the nightlife, in Harlem at Perks and after hour night spots, you kind of know what's pretty much going on. There's only two things: drinking, illicit narcotics, and women, right? Women for sale, right? I'm trying to. I don't want to get a copyright strike on it. I'm trying to keep it clean, right, for the internet. So his mom in this documentary said that she was worked in after hour spots. She worked 3 jobs. She worked in after hour spots. I believe she used to have a lot of parties with Susan Taylor. She had a lot of parties with Susan Taylor. In the documentary, Kurt Burrows, who I thought was key. I thought this guy was key. Hold on, let me share his picture right here. I thought he was my takeaway. I thought he was really excellent in his testimony. Here he goes right here, Kurt Burrows. No, it wasn't before Kurt Burrows. It was also actually a childhood friend before him. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me stop that one. It was another childhood friend that was saying that, he would have the mother would throw parties at the house, and there'd be NBA players there. There would be drug dealers there. There would be, I guess we want to say pimps there, right? So he grew up as a child seeing all that, right? But he was also lied to. So he was also very flashy, Harlem. Harlem, he always had fur coats and diamond bracelets and gold chains and hat, because the mother was trying to overcompensate for the fact that she brought this child into the world. The father was unalive, and that's just to raise this kid. So she would buy him a lot of gifts and fur coats and jewelries and things. So it kind of looked like a little pimp or a little flashy or whatever. But the mother did the best job she could, right? She worked 3 jobs. She put him in private school. She got him into Howard College. She really tried her best under the circumstances. She moved him out of Harlem, which I would have, if I was married and my husband was unalive, I would get up and move too. I wouldn't want to stay there either, because you don't know if he had enemies. You don't know if he owed people money. You don't know what his dealing was with the federal government. If he was an informant, maybe she was always being watched. Maybe her phone was tapped. I mean, just so much layers. And I heard that they're going to come out, Diddy's coming out with a sequel to The Reckoning, a part 2. Crazy, right? So you get to the beginning part. Of the story about his childhood, how he's growing up, right? Then he drops out of, we all know the story, right? He drops out of Howard University. There was some other people before in some of the civil suits that he was already essaying people um, on campus. And listen, if you look at the statistics, the number one place where women get essayed is college campus. It's college campus. They say date grape, things like that. It's not really at the club or at a friend's house or at the mall or home. It's on campus at school. This wasn't in the documentary, but this is in one of his many, 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 many um, civil lawsuits that he has. Let me pull it up for you. Hey, TikTok, what's up? So let's take a look. Let me log into here 1 second. Sorry, TikTok, I can't share my screen because I'm over here working on YouTube. Guys, do you think I should open up a Patreon account? Let me know in the comments if you think I should jump on Patreon. I've been thinking about it. Haven't done it yet, but I think I will. Okay. Shout out to Diddy Docket. Shout out to all the podcasters, really. I'm going to go through them in a minute, but let me share this real quick. So if you go over here to diddydocket.com, you go to civil cases and you see open and you hit search. He currently has 77 cases open right now. If you look right here, I'm sharing my screen. There's some that are closed, but these are still open, right? Dante Nash, that was his assistant. Jane Doe. Clayton Howard, that was one of the male entertainers. He was actually in Clayton Howard. He was in the Diddy docket. It's 4 hours, guys. 4 parts. He was there. He kind of switched up his story, Clayton Howard, because when he was doing podcasting, when he was on like the Art of Dialogue and I think Vlad TV, he was saying Cassie was more complicit, but now in the Diddy in the Reckoning on Netflix, he was saying no, Diddy was the aggressor. So he goes back and forth a little bit. So I don't know what kind of entanglement they had. So guys, if you look at the screen right here, you can see all these 77 open civil suits that he has right here. And there's actually one with Kurt Burrows on here as well. If you go on and jump on the Diddy docket, you can see him. Dickinson Nail, yeah, I believe she was in the documentary. Okay, so let me stop sharing that. Okay. So that's how the doc starts. It talks about his childhood, how he grew up, went to Howard. Then we get to City College, which they had a lot of unseen footage, which tore a lot of people were like crying. A lot of people I heard got really emotional. People taking away different things that they like if you resonated with Biggie, people were affected by that. If you resonated with Pop, like me, you were affected by that. If you were, I was at City College, so now we go into City College. One of the let me see. City College. It's into City College. Oops. One of the victims went to my high school, Harry S. Truman High School. Hold on, let me put my phone on mute. My phone is ringing. Okay, I forgot which one it was. He went to oh, this one. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. Okay, so here were the City College Stampede was a crowd crush event December 28th, 1991. So I was already out of high school 2 years then. City College, New York gymnasium during a charity basketball game headlined by hip hop celebrities Diddy, Puff Daddy, and Heavy D. Nearly 5,000 people tried to pack into the gymnasium, which could fit 2,730 people. Outside, people broke through at least one glass door leading to the gymnasium lobby. The crowd rushed the lobby and down a short staircase that led to the gymnasium. However, doors at the bottom of the stairs opened into the lobby, not outward the gymnasium, and the doors were left closed for 15 minutes as the crush worsened. 9 people were crushed to death at the bottom, and 29 others were injured. The 9 people killed were from various parts of New York City and surrounding areas. A few were from Brooklyn, the Bronx, and from New York. No criminal charges were filed following the incident, although multiple wrongful death and personal injury lawsuits were filed. The documentary titled No Way Out. I saw that. Okay. All right. So Diddy and Heavy D. So Diddy over promoted the event. I think it was on BLW BLS, was on Hot 97. He put flyers everywhere. Now he's young. He's probably like in his 20s, so he's young. He's trying to be a party promoter. He dropped out of school in Howard, and it was $12. Kids paid $12 for the ticket. Like, my daughter, I want to go to a basketball game. I want to go to a concert. Stampedes, they do happen. And unfortunately, these were the victims that passed away. I believe this guy right here, if I don't know his name, went to Harry S. Truman, went to my high school. I think he was on the football team. Yeah, this is him. So my issue was they had a lot of live, let me stop sharing this. Hold on. They had a lot of unseen footage from the City College. And when you see everybody, doing CPR and trying to help and get the kids, Diddy's just walking around. He's walking. Maybe he was in shock, but he didn't try to get on. He didn't try to help. He didn't do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You can see him on video. He didn't do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You can see he wasn't doing any CPR. He didn't claim any accountability. I can tell you multiple times, just by me being on the road for a short period of time, there has been times, I'm not going to name any names, where things have happened that I feel like the group slash manager slash label would be negligence, or would you would say what's the word I'm looking for? Is it criminal homicide, negligence homicide? There's a word, but there's someone has to take, if you make a tour and someone gets injured on the tour, dies on the tour, it's called negligence. And a lot of times they rewrite the story and they rewrite the history and they put it out differently in the Vibe magazine and everything. You're like, wait a minute, that didn't happen like that. I was there. This is a lie. It's just a lie because they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be held accountable, which is horrible. So to this day, what happened with City College, no one never took, the radio station didn't take responsibility. Diddy didn't take responsibility. City College, the security. I mean, there's so many different levels. Everyone's like, oops, so it happened. It was a mistake. No, but these mistakes didn't just Tory Lane. There was a stampede at Tory Lane. The other one, what's her name? Arande. Oh my God, the girl. She had this concerts now. They still get stampedes. Those are larger stadiums. But I'm just saying, someone has to find negligence. So Diddy was like, well, it's not my fault. I don't have nothing to do with it. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to remove myself. But it's all blood money, right? It's all blood money. It just follows down. What did they say? Do the sins of the father pass down to the children? Because you never took responsibility. You never apologized. Then when he got an advance, this is what the documentary said. Shout out to, let me pull him up right now. Let me share my screen. according to Kurt Burrows, who started Bad Boy, was saying when he got advanced for Clive Davis, they got $10 million for Bad Boy. He put 75% of the 10 million in his mother's name, Janice Combs, only because he didn't want to pay any of the victims from City College. The 9 victims from City College, any wrongful doing, any lawsuits that were proceeding, he put all 75% of his money in his mother's name because he didn't want to pay any of the families that died from City College. Now, I was there. That's what I wanted to talk about. So I remember seeing the flyers. Everyone knew, okay. And I was the type of kid, I was the type of person I always wanted to be outdoor. I'm still like that. I want to be outside. I'm not a homebody. I'm not introverted where I'm going to sit home. I'll sit home for a little bit now because I'm older, but I'm pretty hyper. I wanted to be outside. So I found out that this basketball game was coming up and you had all these celebrity Dougie Fresh and everybody else was going to be there. So of course, being in hip hop, being on tour, those were my friends. I knew people knew me, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go. I believe I went by myself. I think I was supposed to meet some people there. I had a beeper. We had beepers then. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have social media. So it was like, beep, 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 beat me on this, meet me. I'm going to jump on the train, meet me on this corner, whatever. And all I remember was, let me see something. Let me go back. It was cold because it was December 28th. So it was winter. Oops, sorry. It was cold. I remember I jumped on the train because I didn't have a car. And I went down the city. I went down there. And I remember coming up the train and seeing the school and walking down the street. And it was just, that's what it was. It was LL Cool J was there. And I remember LL was there. And it was just, I remember his name. Either he was performing or he was on the flyer or he showed up or he was already inside. I don't remember. But all I remember was the crowd was thick. They said 5,000 people showed up. It probably felt, to me, it probably felt more like 10,000 people. It probably felt like double, triple that, right? I just remember seeing this thick crowd thinking, I just had this bad energy. Like all of a sudden, I was just really like, something's not right. And I was outside. I didn't have a ticket. I had to know someone who knew someone. I probably thinking, I know somebody. I get in back door, a VIP. I'll call a friend. I'll phone a friend. I'll see someone. I'll smile. I just that's how things for me. How I was able to operate back then. So, but when I saw that big crowd, something overcame me. I was like, something's not. I was like, nah, this is too much. The energy was too thick, and I didn't feel good about it. I was like, nah, let me leave. I turned around, I left. I'm going to tell you by the time I got home, mind you, we don't have phones, communications, all that stuff then. This is what, 91. The time I got home, I cut on the news and the stampede, the news had came out and I just started to cry because I was like, I felt so guilty. I felt that when you say survivor guilt is real. I was in 9/11 too. I was there. That's survivor guilt. When you say, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I was just there and this just happened. And what if I went in the building and this is horrible? Da, 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 da. It was just a sad day. It was a sad day for hip hop. It was just a sad time. So according to the in the documentary, they Andre Harrell, Uptown Record, whatever his distribution deal was, they were like, get rid of him. Get rid of this guy. And Andre Harrell fought. He was like, nah, let's keep him. We need him. He's a hard worker. This thing happened. And then I've heard other documentaries, Diddy went into deep depression because he got fired. He eventually got fired from Uptown and he didn't have any money and he was depressed and I think it was Gene Dale was saying he was suicidal. And then, I believe it was Eddie F was paying his bills. I think Eddie, he had just had a baby with Misha. Justin was just born. He didn't have no money. I think Eddie F, Heavy D's producer, DJ, was giving him some money to pay his bills. That's what I heard, allegedly. So, make a long story short, I'm trying to follow the documentary. So, there was unseen footage with the City College event. You could see the bodies. You could see Diddy not doing CPR or whatever. So, then we fast forward then he separates with Clive Davis. I mean, he separates with Andre Harrell. Um, and then he gets Craig Mack, and they gave him a deal. They were like, because he started with Jodeci, started with Mary J. Blige, Uptown Records was on top. He wanted, his ego was so big. He wanted to take Andre Harrell's place. Andre Harrell was like, that's not happening. You gotta go. And he started shopping him, and let's go. I gotta go back to his day one. Kurt Burrows. Now, some people say that they were in a relationship. Kurt Burrows never said yes or no. I think he kind of alleged he was SA, but didn't get into details about how, where, who could, woulda, shoulda, whatever. I don't know. It was a little gray area, but that's besides the point. He was saying that the two of them together went to multiple Sony Entertainment. They went to a lot of different labels to get, because Andre Hall was like, you could leave and you could take Biggie Smalls, but you got to pay me for the album because the album was already done. So they're shopping around. And Clive Davis, they played Give Me the Loot by Biggie Smalls, and Clive Davis then gave him the 10 million. He took 75% of his 10 million and put it in his mother's name because he didn't want to pay any of the kids from City College. Kurt Burrows then got 25% of the stocks, which later there's a lawsuit out there that his mother stole from him or took from him or gave him, promised it back. I think the lawsuit got kicked out because it was like, it was too many years had passed after he filed or whatever. So the document moves forward. Then we see Craig Mack's wife comes in there about how Craig Mack is broke and he has the number one record and he's winning Grammys and there's no money because Diddy would form a shell company, which you learned from Andre Harrell. He would form a shell company and say, well, I own the recording studio and you're the artist and you went to my recording studio. So therefore you owe me. You went to the recording studio 4 times. Back then, I'm not gonna lie. Now technology has changed the music business so much. You don't have to sell albums. You could downstream for free. I could sit here right now with auto tunes and the computer could dummy up in my voice and make a beat. And then I could put out a single, right? But back then the studio was very expensive. I'm not going to lie. It was very expensive because I used to go to the studio a lot of time with Latifah and a lot of other people. And I remember these people like, don't be late. Time is money. Hurry up. We got to pay. We're paying for the studio. We're paying for the engineer. We're paying for the sound man. We're paying for this, paying for that. So Diddy would have the shell company that he learned from Andre Harrell and be like, well, I own the studio. You came to the studio 4 times. So now you owe me $400,000. I mean, DMX said it. DMX said he made more money in his one movie than his entire music career. Because in the music business, it's not set up for the artist to make money. It's set up for the label to make money because they front, oh, here's money for makeup. Here's money for clothes. Look, you see these pictures up here? All right, I was the video girl. I was the music girl. I was the girl on tour. I was the girls on the Swiss magazine, right? Dancing, touring, going to Europe. And a lot of tours, I'm not going to lie, we talk about the golden era. They were like, you got to go on tour for free. We used to do promo tours just to. Can you imagine working and touring? That's how it was. That's how it was. That's how you had to get your foot in the door. And so the music business still say so. Diddy also too what he would do. Let's say you have an album. Let's say it's Mary J. Blige or whoever, and she has a whole album. And he jumps on the bar. He says, take that. Just because he said take that on the song, that means he's getting a percentage of the royalties. You have a video. He's in the video. So he's getting a percentage of that. you writing. If he writes a sentence, he's getting a percentage. That any way he looked to make money off of you, he thought the artist was stupid. Not some of the artists. Okay, I don't mean this with any disrespect, because we all have our I don't mean any disrespect, but we're talking about coming from the inner city, right? You could be. Let's look at Karis One for once. Karis One, was homeless, 13 years old. Go get his book. I have his book. His brother's name. My brother's name is Kenny. It's a great book. I actually have it on the shelf. I have to get up and reach it. My next live, I'm gonna bring the book out and show it to you. But Karis One, for instance, he ran away 13, didn't go to college, not a scholar, whatever, and he's highly intelligent. Read, would stay in the library and read. So, you know, some of the hip hop entertainers, some of the rap, but are illiterate. Fantasia, Mary J. Blige, a lot of them are illiterate. They can't read. They're hungry. They have this big talent, but they don't have any business sense. They're not a lawyer. They don't want to have any business sense. Toni Braxton, she's another one. They don't want to do the business. They just want to show up and do the art. Lauryn Hill was like, I don't even want to do this music business anymore because I'm a creator and I just want to create. But when you add the business to it and all this stuff, it stressed me out and it's not something that I really want to do, right? So, with that being said, Diddy knew that he had the mind, he had a business mind, but zero talent. And his artist had all the talent with no business sense. And even Pepper from Salt and Pepper, and I'm the biggest fan of Salt and Pepper. I love him to death. Even Pepper said the same thing on one of her reality shows to her daughter. She goes, "Look, you want to be in entertainment? Go to college." She said, "Had I, Pepper had one of her regrets." She said, excuse my voice. She said, "Had I went to college and I learned to contracts when they had sent me the contract at 18, 19, I would have understood to read it before I signed." And a lot of them, they say lawyer up. They probably couldn't even afford the lawyer. So everyone got robbed back then. But everyone should know better now and shouldn't be getting robbed anymore, right? So Diddy's mindset was like, I'm going to take an artist and give him an advance, give them the money up front, let them be happy. I'm gonna take everything else on the back end. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take their name, their likeness, their they can't use their name, they can't use their likeness. I'm gonna take all their royalties. If they want to make money, they just gotta go on tour. You gotta go on tour and get your money. I don't even know if Brandon. I don't even know if people could get the Brandon deals and all that stuff came out later with Chris Lighty. I think the first Brandon deal he did was it LL Cool J and the lipstick or chapstick or something like that. Because he would always be licking his lips and all. But so Diddy would make a one-hit wonder. He's like, I'm going to give him advance, make a one-hit wonder, and then drop him and get rid of them and on to the next. He did that with everybody on his label. So they would get really frustrated. Like, oh my God, I'm coming to make a career. He just gave me one hit. And after that hit, he ran off and he left with somebody else because that was the game. I'm going to get all the residuals off of you. It's never intended. It was never intended to have a lifetime career with you. All his artists end up broke. He became more famous than any of his artists. The selfishness, the greed. Now, did he do anything different that the rest of the labels did? No, Prince said he was broke. Luther Vandross said he was broke. Whitney Houston said she was broke. So all the labels, Clive Davis's was on the federal investigation for payola, paying the radio stations to play his music. Clive Davis was given allegedly narcotics to his artists. Jimi Hendrix, Whitney. They even said in the documentary, this made me think this is diabolical. My takeaway from this documentary is Diddy is a roach. He is a big black roach. When you see a roach, you're like, ew, get rid of it. And you try to just kill it and stamp it. Let me get my shoe. Look at my shirt, right? This is me trying to kill Diddy with the damn shoe. And you're tapping, and it just won't die. He just gets bigger and nastier. Ugh. He after putting your artist Biggie Smalls, so you get Biggie Smalls, which was a whole nother. What happened before Biggie? Was it Tupac? Hold on, I gotta get my. I'm skipping. There's so much to this doc. There's so much because there's so much to this man's life. There's so much to this man's life. I'm gonna have to do a part two on this. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go make me a bag of popcorn, make part two, and I'm gonna come back because it's just so much. So I'm trying to go in order about. He grew up with the lie. Didn't know about his father. The mother was into ladies in the night, having parties at after hour spots. She would beat him up, dress him up as a pimp with a big pimp hat and the fur coats. He went to college at Howard. He was in private school. If you look this up too, this was interesting. This was they missed this in the documentary. I need to call 50. You need to do part two. When they didn't put this in the doc. Why I know this, I don't know. Because I grew up in the Bronx. I'm familiar with Mount St. Michael. But the same period of year and the time when Diddy was at Mount St. Michael all boys private school in the Bronx, the priest were arrested and under investigation for SAing the boys in the school. Now go ahead and smash that like button. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. They didn't bring that up in the documentary. They didn't bring that up because I guess they couldn't tie it. So I'm a strong believer we're a product of our environment. You know, I grew up in the Bronx. Um, I don't regret it. I think it made me who I was. Had I grown up somewhere else, would I be different? Absolutely. Absolutely. So they missed that part. All right. So then we go on. Guess what, Big? He leaves. He leaves Uptown, gets a deal with Arista Records with Clive Davis. They get Biggie. They're looking for money to finish Big's album. Then Tupac comes on the scene. Tupac and Big are friends. Tupac was a huge fan of Biggie, wanted to go to his album release party. I met Tupac in Germany on tour with Digital Underground because they were signed to Tommy Boy and Latifah was on Tommy Boy. They were Digital Underground and Queen Latifah were label mates along with Stetsasonic. I believe De La Soul. Was De La Soul and Tommy Boy? I have to look up. That's a live for another time, guys. And I met Pac in Germany. And when I met that group, when I met Shock, Money B, Fuse, I forgot his security guard's name. Really nice man. Very, very. It just blew me. The women in Europe were like, it's one thing when you got New York love from New York, like, oh, you're a rapper, everybody love you, you're in New York, we're in the little bubble. But when you fly all the way to Europe and you see all these white people, like you just crossed over, you're on a whole Shock G, rest in peace. He was very talented and he had a lot of that funk. Sex Packets, get the album. Sex Packets. He had a lot of that funk in there and they loved it. And Tupac at that time, he was a rodeo and a backup rapper and his album didn't come out yet, but he was bubbling, and there was a lot of love for Pac. There was a lot of love there. The only guns we were playing with when I knew him on tour were water guns. You can look it up on YouTube. There's tons of footage on there. I'm not gonna go on there and play it because I might start crying. But Pac, Big become friends. Pac being a love of the art. Pac was already in movies, Poetic Justice, Janet Jackson, making his own music, blah, 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 writing. All the girls loved him. Tupac was he wore the Versace. Well, we're gonna get into the Versace clothes, what that was all about. But Pac was everything that Diddy wanted to be. And then Kurt Burrows kind of slightly touches on it. And I mean, this is not a Tupac documentary, it's a Diddy documentary, but Tupac is relevant because they're trying to point the hit for hire for him, which is a whole nother one. I'm gonna have to do a part two. I'm gonna have to, just because I've been having problems uploading my lives on this. I think, I don't know if I need a new computer or what, but my live is going. It's acting up. Shout out TikTok. You saw it? Yes, I did. TikTok. I watched all 4 hours of the Diddy documentary, and I'm doing the review. I'm actually just basically still on episode 1. Yes, I did. Somebody's asked me if I saw it. So, Tupac comes on the scene. Him and Big are chill. Diddy's like jealous, allegedly. This is my opinion. But if you go in the background now, Diddy's hanging out with Jimmy Henchman, who's serving life in prison right now for dirty moneying, dirty laundering money in the record business, and a lot of the bad boys artists. Okay? He also, if you look him up online, did Hit for Hire. Right? And that's Diddy, Jimmy Henchman, that's his BFF. Tupac now being an artist in the music, an artist on film, because remember he went to art high school with Jada Pinkett, so he is an actor by trade. He's a trained actor. Yes, you can have some natural, like Latifah. Latifah has some natural talent, but I think when she started living singles, I don't know if she was a trained actor like Tupac was, who studied and went to school in Philadelphia. Oh God. TikTok's asking me to verify that I'm not AI. I'm not AI TikTok, okay? I'm a real person. Hello. I'm a real person, real time. So, long story so let me focus. I'm sorry, guys. Got a little ADD. Try to get through this stuff without crying, because I'm actually talking about a friend, someone who I know and love, that was murdered, was attempted murdered, and then murdered. So it's not easy for me. So I'm gonna get through this, right? Pac being a trained actor, like all actors, if you look at Denzel, anybody, right? When you look at most of them, they always have what? A muse. They have a muse. So Tupac grew up in New York, then moved to Philly, then went back to the West Coast. So there's always been this fight, like New York wants to claim him, California wants to claim him, Philly wants to claim, everyone wants to claim Pac, but Pac was everywhere, right? So I think he goes to Brooklyn and he's looking for a muse. He meets Haitian Jack, big drug dealer, who I think was deported, still alive, is in Haiti now. He's got a whole bunch of his own documentaries. Look it up on YouTube. He starts hanging out with, and Haitian Jack is not no one to he's a real serious dude. I don't know what his relationship with Jimmy Henchman was, if they were working together or what. But Biggie having love for Pac was like, you don't want to hang out with these guys. You don't want to deal with them. They're a problem. They allegedly were the ones that set him up on the essay assault in the hotel with the girl that he met on the dance floor in the club. But then Haitian Jack was friends with Madonna. Haitian Jack would always wear the Versace shirts, right? Hold on. Let me pull it up. See if I can find a picture. Did you guys know that Jacob the jeweler also he got arrested, right? Or he was investigated for was he money laundering too? Let me look up something. I'm trying to prove something. How? Let me share this one. Hold on. So this is Haitian Jack. Tupac starts hanging out with him in Brooklyn. He's friends with Madonna. He would always wear Versace shirts. He was always have flashy, a lot of jewelry. He was also friends with Jimmy Henchman. And Biggie warned Tupac and was like, "Don't hang out with them. They're not good people." This is the girl allegedly essayed him in the hotel. Here's Haitian Jack right there. See this Kugo sweater? That's when Biggie Smalls started wearing those Coogee sweaters. There's Pac. Um, there they go, hanging out. So Biggie was like, "Don't hang out with him. He's trouble." But I think Tupac really got immersed in his style, his attitude, his because he was getting ready to do the movie Juice. He was gonna play Bishop in Juice, right? And Bishop was a real like gangster, so he was hanging out with Haitian Jack. He was gonna be my muse, his muse for the next role. And he was like, "I'm gonna wear Versace like him. I'm gonna dress like him. I'm gonna go to Jacob the jeweler. I'm gonna get all this jewelry and really try to copy his style." Here they go with the watches. Now we're going to get to the robbery. Now that I'm showing you the jewelry, I'm going to get to the robbery in Quad Studio. Right? So let's see one more thing. Let me look at Haitian Jack and Madonna. It's always about jealousy. It's such a okay. Haitian Jack and Madonna. Here's a picture right here. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Here's Haitian Jack and Madonna. Here's Tupac and Madonna. It's not really a clear picture. Let's see if I can open this one. There we go. Haitian Jack and Madonna. A lot of this beef and people, it so seems to be like over jealousy over money, jealousy over power, jealousy over women. Diddy was a very jealous person. He was a very jealous person. And they say jealousy is one of the, one of the seven deadly sins, right? So Tupac's copying Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack takes him to Jacob the jeweler. Jacob the jeweler later goes to jail. I think one winds up in jail or dead or something. Jacob the jeweler, and then he gets him like $50,000. I think it was like a $20,000 watch and a couple of chains or whatever. Tupac allegedly, I don't know. This is the story that I heard, or if you watch some of the podcasts, starts getting to be rambunctious and a very loud mouth. I knew a different Tupac. Tupac in the beginning, who was like a roadie and a dancer with Digital Underground, and Tupac, the rapper, who eventually went with Suge Knight and Death Row, were different. I know the Tupac before Bishop on Juice, right? So They take him to Jacob the jeweler. He started to get a loud mouth. Biggie was like, stay with him. So I believe, allegedly, in my opinion, is my opinion that, let me look him up. I gotta show you the visuals. I always come with the, I'm a visual learner, so I always like to show pictures because you don't want to sit here and just watch me talk, talk, talk. Okay, here we go. Guys, if you want to watch my pictures on YouTube, just go Safari Spice on YouTube. That's all you gotta do. Let me share this screen. God, these pictures are so dark. I'm gonna have to log off and come back on. I'm gonna have to sign off and come back on. Okay, so here's Jimmy Henchman and Diddy. The shooter at Quad Studio. So Tupac's getting beep, 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 beep. Comes to the studio, record this song with Sean. He's coming to Quad. They're pressuring him. The driver, they're setting him up. He looks upstairs. He sees Little C's come upstairs. Little C says, I'll come down. I'll buzz you in. The elevator opens. The robber points the gun. Get back in. He goes back up to be with Biggie Smalls. Then Tupac comes in. Now, prior to that, I believe Tupac had bang bang the police officer that he got found not guilty for because it was like self-defense or something. So he always walked with a bang bang. And Jimmy Henchman, who's friends with Diddy, who's also in prison for hit for hire, right? And money laundering with Bad Boys artists, said he did not like Tupac's loud mouth, and he needed to be humble and he needed to be taught a lesson. So he paid the what's the word I can use? The guy who robbed Tupac at Quad Studio when he was in prison, believe he confessed or said that Jimmy Henchman paid him to rob him, not to shoot him, not to unalive him, nothing. It was just they wanted the jewelry back that they had bought for him. They bought him like $50,000 in jewelry, and they just wanted to keep his mouth shut, to humble him, teach him a lesson. You're a loudmouth. You're in New York. You're not from here. Get out of here. You're going out with Madonna, but you shouldn't be hanging out with Madonna because that's Haitian Jack's friend. Is Madonna is a girlfriend. I have some jealousy over Madonna, and then Madonna eventually, I think she wrote him a letter in prison. You could Google it and look at the letter. So Madonna, it's always a woman. Like I said, it's always a woman in the middle of this. So when Tupac's getting robbed, he bang bangs first, the shooter bang bang back, and then he gets hit 9 times. So it was like a botched robbery gone bad, supposedly. Right? But Tupac tried to tell us from back then, it was Puff. It was Puff. It was Diddy. Diddy set me up. And part of this is coming out in the documentary. A lot of this is coming out in the documentary. That Diddy was a very jealous person of Tupac. He wanted to be loved. He wanted to be admired. He wanted to be in the movies. He wanted to have talent. He wanted to act. He wanted to sing. So he was a very jealous person against him. But Diddy said, I didn't have nothing to do with Pac getting robbed. However, the man who hired the gunman was your BFF, but you had nothing to do with it. And Diddy's a liar. He said the same thing on the documentary. He's like, I never hired the Crips for, when they get into the shooting over in Vegas, he's like, I never hired any Crips for security, which is not true either. So then we fast forward. Pac gets shot. Then he goes to prison. Then they start talking about Biggie Smalls' career. Then they go to the fight in Vegas, the night of the fight. And then they get into the whole Keefy D. They bring in the detective Kading. And they go through the fight. The night of the Tupac fight when he was with Suge. Keefe D. Now you know Keefe D's trial is coming up in February. They keep pushing it back. Coming up in February. And allegedly, Foxy Brown. There was a lot of rappers at that club. That club. Who was that rapper that was there? Was supposed to perform? What was Suge Knight's club? 6 6. What's the name of the club? Club 662. Club 662. I wanted to know who was performing that night. I don't want to name any rappers because I don't want to be wrong. It was October 12th, 19. Wait, I want. There was a lot of rappers there. All right, I'd have to look that up later. I don't want to. I don't want to give the wrong information. Um, but supposedly Zip had a car that had a security place where you could hide, like a compartment in the car where you could hide a bang bang. All of this came out in the documentary. Now the trial's supposed to start in February. Now Foxy Brown was one of the people that I was hearing that was supposed to may testify. They may call Foxy Brown to come in to testify against that she witnessed it. But it was crazy to hear Keefe D say, like, right after the shooting, they was just standing by the ambulance and they were laughing, they were smoking, it was like whatever, and they put the bang bang on top of the tire. And they were just it just sound very callous, to hear someone talk about my friend as someone I knew, that they were not a life and not a human and not someone's child and not a child of God. And that they were just so very cold, like they did it like it was nothing. And then the detective comes in. So then Tupac is transitions. And then a documentary goes into Biggie. And that how Biggie was supposed to, Kurt Burrows starts talking about how he was supposed to be in London and he was promoting, there was never a rapper from Bad Boy ever to go overseas to Europe, and he was going to do like some promotional work over there. And Puffy being arrogant and an a-hole and persistent was like, no, I'm going to throw this party on enemy turf. I'm going to go out there and we're going to have a party. And he didn't have shoes and he didn't have clothes and he had to wear, was it Jean Dale shoes? And Diddy was like, Biggie was like, I'm paranoid, I'm going to die. And Diddy had the album name Life After Death before he died. And he was like, I don't want to go. I'm young. I'm hearing voices in my head. And then he gets out to California. He makes that song Going Back to Cali. And, they got into the Tupac song before that, Hit 'Em Up, and just all the tension. But the tension was really between Suge. The East Coast, West Coast beef, according to the documentary, was really a beef between Suge and Diddy, because one of Diddy's allegedly bodyguards or entourage or friend shot one of Suge Knight's friend, and Suge put Diddy in the headlock and was like, you better tell your kids to watch their back. You better tell your mother to watch their back. And that's when I think Diddy started to hire some Crips. That when he went to California to do business, he needed extra security. I know he also used to work with the FOI, with the Fruit of Islam for security. And guys, go ahead if you're watching this, hit that like button for me. And Big gets to California. Did he only hire security for him? Gene Deal has said that forever. Shout out to Gene Deal. Shout out to all the podcasters. I like to listen to Ticket TV, Murad, I forgot his last name. He's in London. The Star Report is crazy. I just listen to him to laugh. Willie D. Shout out to all the podcasters. But so Biggs in at the party. Was it the BET party? What was the party? Let me get it right. Was it an album release party? Guys, you hear me typing away. Album release party or some after party. Vibe magazine, March 9th, 1997. Oh, I thought this was very creepy. One of the male entertainers said for 8 years, this gave me, I was like, oh, this is disgusting. For 8 years that every day on March 9th that they would call him to do FOs on the day to celebrate Biggie, the day he transitioned. I was like, that gave me creeps. I was like, something's a little off here. Um, it was a Vibe magazine party. So Diddy had a promotional or speaking engagement in London that they'd been working on for months, canceled at the last minute because of his ego driven with no security, only security for him, not for his artists. And Mace was like, I'm not going outside because I believe Mace was there. Mace was like, I'm not going outside. And Mace was like, I'm staying in the room. I'm locking in myself in the room. They were scared. They were scared. And they went to on enemy turf, and then you know what happens, Biggie. So there was a lot of unseen video. There was a lot of footage the night um, Biggie got shot in the documentary. I think some new footage people didn't see before. They definitely Netflix had a big budget because every 2 minutes they were playing music, 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 and whenever you got to get clearance for the music, means you got to have a big budget. So this is the part that completely disgusted me, and I'm gonna stop this live here, and I'm gonna come back and do a part two because, like I said, it's 4 hours. I cannot sit here and do 4 hours of what I might take away with. This is when I thought he was a diabolical black roach. He was the roach when he said, "I'm gonna have the biggest and the best funeral for Biggie Smalls," and when he found out the price, he said, "I'm gonna take it out of Biggie Smalls' budget." His video, he had a budget for videos. He said, so he made, follow what I'm saying. This is horrible. I even feel horrible even repeating. He made a dead man pay for his own funeral. You being the owner of Bad Boy Records. I've seen this happen with other groups. I'm not going to say the name, but you were criminally negligent that you put your artist in harm's way without security, and then you robbed the dead man and took his own budget money to pay for his funeral. Now, did Clive Davis do this with Whitney Houston? I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe this is what they do. I don't know. Who knew? Maybe never know. He also, Kurt Burrows also said Biggie had a contract that I guess he was going to get X amount of money. Now, you know, when the artist died, because he was taking the royalties, he was taking when you sign that contract, you signed away everything, your image, your likeness, your name, your royalties. You really just can't do anything. He owned him. Biggie knew he owned him. He was mad, and allegedly Biggie and Tupac were going to get away from Suge and from Diddy and create their own album or partner up together. Maybe they were frustrated because they would get robbed. Tupac didn't have nothing, When he signed with Suge Knight in prison on the toilet paper, that was it. And then when Suge went to jail, his wife got everything. I think the mother, didn't Afeni Shakur, had to fight for the estate and the money. It's just hard. It's just horrible, horrible. So Diddy's not the only person out here with the shenanigans robbing their artists. Trust and believe. But you're gonna take the man is dead. You take the budget from his instead of giving it to his mother, his kids, his wife, and you rob him again in debt. I mean, that is just. But God sees everything. That's why you're sitting in jail right now. And let's hope you don't never get out. Right? Then he had a contract, and Kurt Burrows, guys, I'm about to sign off. So then Kurt Burrows, he had a contract, because I remember Gene Dale was saying he was reading the contract, and there was things that Diddy did that Biggie was writing for the Locks. I think Junior Mafia, he was writing for everyone, but he was telling them to tell Diddy that they wrote their own music, because I think Biggie knew he was getting robbed, and he was trying to pull away. And then Diddy, after Biggie Small, he took him off of the Source magazine. He took him off of the cover of Vibe magazine. He was had to be all about him. Like he didn't have any artists. All his artists left him. It had to be all about him. That's why he was like, "You artists got too much of a big of an ego that you could leave me. And if his artists leave him, he's not gonna make any money." So he was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do Making of the Band. I'm gonna take regular, average, everyday schmegular people, and I'm gonna make you up big, because if I make you famous, if you don't have real talent, real voice, real contacts, and I use auto tunes, or I dress you up and I make you a hit, then then you're not going to go anywhere without me. I can control you because you'll flop." That was the whole setup. Making the band was never, and they said they signed when they did make it. They got no money. They was like, "We'll give you fame with no money." They agreed. At least they had a lawyer. They agreed to it. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna get used and abused, and you know you're willingly like, okay, I know I'm gonna get jerked, but I'm okay with it. But back then, people were getting jerked blindly. You know. That business, you get in there, it will eat you up, okay? But the contract, let me go back to this contract, and then I'm gonna jump off, and I'm gonna come back and do part two. This is part one. I gotta leave me a sticky note. Hold on. I gotta make me a sticky note of what I covered, because it's so much. I don't have no notes. This is just going in my head. I sat here and watched 4 hours. It was ridiculous. Plus, I need to go make some new coffee. I got some things I gotta do. All right. So I left off part one at the contract for Biggie. Okay. Kurt Burrows was saying that there was a contract that Diddy signed in the middle of it. He told Kurt Burrows, cut out the middle. Rewrite the terms of the contract with his signature, with the dead man's signature, and let's give it to the mother. Straight forgery, what they call him, paper gangster. He said he was a paper gangster. I don't care who, no billionaire, multi-millionaire. Listen, the nice ones who go to school, honest, don't cheat, don't steal, you're always going to be at the bottom. You always, and whenever you see a multi-millionaire, show me a crime. There's a crime behind that multi-millionaire. Maybe they didn't caught. Maybe they fudged the IRS. Maybe they cheated with this. Maybe they didn't pay a couple people, whatever. You don't get to the top of the food chain without cutting some corners. Okay? Guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts, what you think. Diabolical. He was friends. This is what the takeaway. These are the takeaways I want you to take away. I ain't even getting to any of the essay. I'm not here for that. Y'all watch the trial. I showed you where to go to Diddy Docket. You can all follow that. He grew up with a lie. The mother was in the after hours spot, slapping him up in Harlem. She dressed him like a pimp. Zero accountability with City College. Zero negligence with City College. Hid his $10 million not to pay the families a cent. made them fight in court for years and then settle prior to him even becoming a billionaire. So I know those people were like, kick. No one knew he would in 91 would be worth $1 billion, right? One day. No amount of money is going to bring back your loved one, though, right? Then hanging out with BFF with Jimmy Henchman, who does hit for hire, money laundering of Bad Boys artists, hired the gunman that shot Tupac at Quad Studio. Sent Biggie in harm's way. Named his album Life After Death so that his life after death before he died, so that his likeness and catalog will quadruple. That he owned everything about him. They made the man pay for his own funeral. Make it make sense. And they wanted to cut out the contract and cheat rob his mother. Rob Biggie Small's mother. And Kurt Burrow said, I'm not doing that. He said, I'm not doing that. After he got robbed 25% of his stocks, and then Diddy fired him. He said, get out of here. Are you guys going to watch it? It's called The Reckoning by 50 Cent on Netflix. It is 4 hours long. Biggie Smalls' estate is worth $200 million today. For $200 million. His mother grew the estate. At his time of death, it was worth $10 million. So you see how much he benefit from his. Those are my takeaways. Though I mean, I don't. You could get 20 people watch this documentary, and all 20 people are gonna have a different takeaway. Everybody's gonna take something different. You're going to have the Diddy fans that no matter what is said, he's always right, that they're going to spin the narrative. Some people are going to say he's a puppeteer, master manipulator. Someone are just going to be on the side for the victims. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. This is just my opinion, how I felt. Let me know in the comments what you think. I got to take a break because I got some work to do. Gotta make this money, right? But YouTube don't pay me. Y'all don't pay me enough. Y'all don't cash at me enough. I love it. I do it for fun though, guys. I really do. I really like to cook. I haven't been cooking. I was busy, caught up in a couple of things for last couple months. But now I got more time to be back here with you guys. So share the video if you like it. Give me a thumbs up. I gotta go do some work and I'll come back a little later. I'm gonna come back today though. I'm gonna come back in a couple hours. I'm gonna do more on it. Okay, bye guys.